Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Dr. Jeffrey D. Skinner joining us here today for Missional Leadership Coaching based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're excited to have him back today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Beautiful day here, about 72 degrees, beautiful sunshine. Gorgeous day outside.
Beautiful in Atlanta, cloudy, rainy in New York, but it's okay. We're excited. We're always positive and happy. We're going to talk about your church planting coaching, your church revitalization, your book, the website, all you do. So missional leadershipcoaching.com. That's missionalleadershipcoaching.com. Please introduce yourself to everyone today to start.
Yeah, Dr. Jeffrey D. Skinner. I've been planting churches for 15 years, coaching others to plant churches for the last, I guess, 4 years now. It's going on that. And as well as mentoring, I've been mentoring others before that, but officially doing it for the last 4. And just authored a brand new book. Actually, it's my second book. This one is a result of the research I did over a 3-year period. And for my dissertation, and it's called Reachable, 7 Keys to Loving, Mentoring, and Leading the Church to the Next Generations.
Amazing. Excited to have you here. So there's a lot to talk about. Please, what else do you want to share? And of course, we're ready to listen, to chat about what's most important to you.
Yeah, great. So just finished up a wonderful cohort of, coach church planters and pastors from around the world, actually, not just here in the United States, but has some from Canada. And I think we had one from, I think it was Indonesia he was from. But anyway, just training them to plant churches, going through that 6-week program there. Church planting essential, we call that. We just talked about the 4 phases of church planting, the God to you phase, which is basically discernment. Where is God calling you? What is God calling you to do? Who is God calling you to reach? Those types of things. Your vision, your mission statement, which is important for clarity. We live in a world full of distractions. And when you're trying to plant a church, it's because you're a pastor. Doesn't mean that you get placed in this bubble free of distractions. So you have to figure out, what am I going to focus on? And how do you discern what is God's voice? What is just, bad fish from the night before? You figure all these things out, right? And so that's that first phase there, is that God to you phase. Second phase is where you're gathering your team to you to the team phase. And so you're kind of putting the planning phase in place, where you're going to meet, how you're going to launch, all those things there. And then phase 3, which is basically your launch phase or preparing for launch. And then finally, phase 4 is that multiplication process. So we try not to just talk about adding people and building our corner of the kingdom, but try to multiply that. And so by multiplying leaders, not just followers, we talk a lot in social media terms of finding followers, and we talk a lot in leadership about finding followers, right? But but the reality is what you want to really do is multiply leaders. You don't just create a following just for the sake of building a name for ourselves. But the point of church planting is to build the kingdom of God, and not just wait for, sure, heaven's great, want to get there. But the reality is God has given us a mission in the short term, and that is to lift up his name, to glorify him. And so that's what that's about there in that final phase of multiplication there with phase 4. So yeah, just finished that up though, starting another one as soon as I get off this call here. I've got another meeting at 3:00 today, and be starting another cohort. So lots of fun, lots of busy times.
And what did you kind of want to focus on for your audience today?
Yeah, so just again, the book Reachable, 7 Keys to Loving, Mentoring, and Leading the Church to the Next Generations. Should be released via Amazon the 27th of this month, May. It's already climbing the charts. Excited about that. The audio book it's actually available now through Audible and Spotify and anywhere you can find audio books. It is climbing the charts really quickly because it's already available. and it's shown a lot of promise. So excited about that. I think today I wanted to kind of focus on one of the keys, the 7 keys. That is one of the 7 keys. And that's in chapter 5, and that is just embracing
I got it.
Christ's example for life transformation. It's called Dancing with the Divine. And I think one of the ironies of the 21st century is that we're more connected than ever, right? I mean, you're in New
Mm-hmm.
York, I'm in Atlanta. We have COVID did one thing in that it forced us all online to connect from wherever we were. And so we have people working from home now. That was something that we really didn't do a whole lot of
No.
before COVID. And so, but we're more connected than ever. I train these people. They're all over the world. But the irony is that loneliness and isolation is a huge issue today. We can be lonely in a crowded room. We don't think about that a whole lot.
No.
That even within a crowd, look around when you're in a restaurant, find the people that's just sitting by themselves, or
Mm-hmm.
even in a church service, find the people that are sitting alone, or in a meeting. One of the things I've done, just kind of the way I'm built, is when I walk into a room, I look for those people that are kind of alone or something. I want to walk up and make a connection with them. Like, hey, how you doing today? Introduce myself. I'm a pretty outgoing guy. And, just because I recognize that we all are made for connection. Yet, in a connected world, it seems like we're more isolated than ever. And isolated with ideology, isolated through religion. One of the things I try to focus on in my book is not focus on what is different about us as Christians, other than maybe how we respond to stress, maybe how we respond to conflict in our world. Those things should be different, but the same. There's lots we have in common. We're all human, and we like to focus on, especially today where everything is politicized. In a highly political environment, we like to focus on everything that's different about us. And what I think about in this chapter, what I talk about in this chapter, is what are the things that bring us together, since we're longing for connection. And that really is what the next generation is looking for. They
No.
have been failed by so many things. They grew up in the wake of 9/11, something you guys know all too well about there in New York. And it's just an anxious time. It seems like, that happened in the era of 24-hour news. If that had happened in
Yeah.
1960, we it wouldn't have been as big a deal, but people watched that live on television. And then every nine
Hmm.
eleven is replayed on television over and over again. And our children watched that. They grew up in the wake of that, and terrorist attacks, and wars, and rumors of wars. And it just seems like the world has just been spinning on its axis, wobbling on its axis since the day they were born. And that has created a lot of anxiety in them. And I've got a son who's very outgoing, but he told me the other day, he's 20 years old. He told me the other day, he's like, Dad, there's sometimes, even though I'm extroverted, there's times I just want to be alone because I get so
Yeah.
angry in the crowd there. And that the point is that anxiety isolates us. And so within the book there, I talk about ways that we can find things in common and connect with each other. And I use my grandfather as an example. And just relationships are the oil of faith. Even when things are tough, when things are hard, alone, um, you know, sometimes we want to isolate and get alone with
Yeah.
ourselves, but that's where the enemy gets us. That's where we begin to have those conversations with ourselves, which are negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get
Horrible, but
connected with
yes.
each other, it's relationships that connect us up, and
Yeah.
we look for those things that are in common. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things I say in here is that there was a time where religious practices were
Okay.
kind of toxic, I guess you could say.
Definitely. Yep.
We could be the church could be very legalistic. I laugh sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a very, very legalistic tradition, Church of the Nazarene, and we're holiness. And so, if you know anything about holiness, In the 60s and 70s, they interpreted that to mean kind of separate and
Mm-hmm.
from the world. So they would do that, but the way they dressed and the things they didn't do, they talked about those conversations there. And so that became very judgmental towards other people, and that pushed people away. Today, and that's where we go back to kind of re-understanding, reimagining Jesus. Jesus did not, those people who disagreed with him, he didn't go out
Mm-hmm.
and condemn them. He went out into the
Nope.
highways and the byways of life to create connection with them.
Yeah.
And that really is what talk about. We talk a lot about making a difference in the world as Christians and as the church. But the reality is we're called to be the difference, right? We're not just going to make a difference. We need to make the world different instead of just making the world different, instead of just making a difference in the world. And when we do that, I think a lot of the problems and the scarcity mindset that we have instead of an abundance mindset,
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes away. I think it does a lot to quell our anxiety
Yep.
and quiet our thoughts and all that there. So yeah, that's about chapter 5 there. And of course you can go to my website, reachableBook.com. It's available in hardback. I just got that quote from that information from the publisher yesterday. So the hardback will be shipping to me directly here over the next week or so. And I'll have those in stock at the website as well. And you can purchase those. Of course, the audiobook is available. The Kindle will be available May 27th, excuse me. And the paperback will be available on Amazon May 27th as well.
Exciting. This is exciting work you're doing. And I can sense your passion. You are passionate. And who do you credit this all to? The work you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a call. I mean, I spent 20 years in information technology and working in computers and all everything that's entailed in that connecting. Back 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, I got my start creating the infrastructure of what we're talking on now, this wide area networks and internet connectivity and things like that. When people could only communicate at 128 kilobits per second, which is kind of funny. And so, there I
Mhm.
was connecting things up, and I just received a call. I'd come out of a very um, kind of a time of deconstruction with my own faith during that time,
Yeah.
and woke up in the middle of the night, began to sense a call from the Lord into ministry. It was evangelism,
Yeah.
and I didn't really know what that looked like at the time. Turned out to be church planting. So that is absolutely my passion. Is I believe that there is a God. I believe that God loves us. I don't think He's there to. I think judgment is God's first act of salvation, not a final act of salvation. In other words, if you see your child running into the street, a busy street, there you make a snap judgment to say, "Hey, come back, get out of the street. This is a dangerous place." And that's what God is telling. Look, you're walking towards death. This is a dangerous path you're on here. Let me make a judgment for you and pull you back, call you back from the edge there. And so it's not just a salvation of our soul, it's a
Mm-hmm.
salvation of every part of our being. There's our wholeness, our whole being. And I just, because of that transformation in my own life, because of that gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
it drives me, not
Yeah.
just because I want people to agree with me. Look, there's a million different opinions of how to live the Christian life, right?
Yeah.
And I've got my personality, you've got your personality. We're all going to in some ways express our faith in just a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But the thing that we have in common is that we were all born in sin, poverty, impoverished spirit, whatever you want to call it there. And we were looking for something greater than ourselves. And that is what drives me. It's what drives my passion, is to let people know that they don't just have to eke out an existence. They don't have to worry about being a victim of the world. There certainly, oppression exists. Certainly there are victims of this world, but But the thing about a relationship with God is that He calls us to be victorious, and through Him we can be. I've met people that are impoverished. When I coach them in Indonesia or India, these people are very impoverished, but they're some of the happiest and most joyful people that you can find
That's
because
amazing.
they have that relationship with the Lord. They know that it may not, being a Christian, having that relationship may not rescue us from all problems, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing that the Lord is walking with us through those problems makes a huge difference in our lives. And so that just creates a passion for me for others to know that, because I know there's such anxiety. There's lots of misery in this world. There's lots of people that wonder from day to day, what tomorrow holds. And I don't worry about that. That's not to say I don't sometimes get
Yeah.
depressed, sometimes get anxious, but I know who holds tomorrow. And because of that, I
Mm-hmm.
can trust that tomorrow will be better than today.
I love your positivity, your uplifting. Clearly, you're living life's purpose and helping so many. Just remind us how we can contact you here, if you don't mind, the website,
Yeah.
phone number.
Yep. Missionalleadershipcoaching.com. They can go there. Or you can read reachable.book.com. And the book is at Reachable Book. The Missional Leadership Coaching is the website if you want to connect. If you have a church
Okay.
that's in need of revitalization, if you want to plant a church, we've got classes there where we can offer you classes of church planting. There's church planting essentials. There's church planting churches. So why do we plant churches? Yeah, that's another one. Healthy church dynamics. And here's the thing about those classes. They're not just classes about
Mm-hmm.
churches. They're churches that they're about leadership, right?
Yeah.
So they can be even starting a business. I know people. I mean, I wish I'd had it when I was starting my IT companies 30 years ago. These principles that we use to plant churches are absolutely connected and can cross over to starting any type of business you have, because you have a strong vision and a mission to do that. You got to attract a team and fire employees, all that stuff. So yeah, I just so missionalleadershipcoaching.com, and to connect with any of that coaching or anything like that, and reachablebook.com to
Love it.
purchase the book. Or Amazon.com, and you can reserve your copy of the book and it'll ship to you when it's available.
Oh my goodness. When do you ever sleep?
Well, so it's funny. I'll wake up sometimes about 3 o'clock in the morning and do a little bit of work and then go back to sleep. It just kind of depends, because you're working with people around the world. You kind of work on their schedule.
You
So,
see?
but I
Oh,
do get my rest in. I believe in Sabbath. I take my Sundays off and rest. So as long as you get that one day a week to rest, I think you're doing okay.
I love it. Thank you so much. Amazing. We still have 5 more minutes left. What else do you
Yeah,
want to make
great.
sure we
Yeah.
cover?
Yeah, no problem at all. So I do want to tell you that if we're starting a brand new class today on church planning essentials. Again, these are leadership principles that are crossover pretty much to any domain. The class is just a $30 donation to the nonprofit there. It is a tax deductible donation there. And the only reason we charge, this is kind of interesting. The only reason we charge the classes, we used to offer them for free. And we'd find a lot of people, we'd get 50 or 60 people to sign up for a class, and then they wouldn't show up. So we discovered that if you told them, okay, it's going to cost you just a little bit of money to get into the class, we have 100% attendance. and so, and so the donation is
Yeah.
simply, it helps to support the online training and things like that. But the
Okay.
reality is it costs a lot more than that to offer these trainings. It's a ministry that we do. But if you'd like to be a part of that, you can go to the Missional Leadership Coaching website and sign up for a training, schedule a call with me. We could get you in there. Today is just the orientation. I record that so that you don't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got 6 weeks, and I'll coach you over a 4 week period. We'll do 4 coaching sessions live.
Amazing.
And so we'll walk through helping you develop your vision statement, help you develop your mission statement, your core values, help you discern your call, where God is calling you to, who God is calling you to reach. All of that within that $30 course that lasts you 6 weeks. And I promise you, you're not going to find that anywhere else for that price. And reality is, we have scholarships available. So if people decide, yeah, I just can't afford that, we often do that for Indonesian people, Indian people. I say Indian, I'm talking about the people from India. And so pretty much anywhere, if you have a need and you can't afford that, we can offer scholarships where it is free. The primary thing is just be sure that you value the training you're getting. But that starts today, and we'll go for another 5 weeks after today. So I'd love for you to join us for that. We still got room for about 5 more in the class for that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, it's exciting that you're here with us again to find out more information about the classes, about your work, and don't forget to pre-order that book.
That's right.
Missional Leadership Coaching. Go ahead and tell us how.
Yeah, reachable.com is the book, and Reachable 7 Keys to Loving, Mentoring, and Leading the Church of the Next Generations. And I've had great reviews. This is not just me talking. I'm not one to really toot my own horn, so to speak. But great reviews. The people that are reading it are finding it very helpful. It's not just recipe. I mean, it's very contextualized, so you can use it for your context. It's not something that's just going to work in Atlanta or the Southeast. It'll work whether you're in Indonesia, it'll work whether you're in Africa, or it'll work in New York. And that's the beauty of the teachings in the book there.
And you say, embrace your God-given identity, empower leaders to achieve, engage leaders to discover their purpose, and encourage leaders in their journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been great work. Being talking to you today.
Same here, as always. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll connect soon.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.